let's dive in. This time we're heading straight to Kerala, India for a Malayalam ghost story.
Oh, ghost story.
You bet. And this one's got it all. Haunted mango tree grove, a village full of whispers, and a skeptic who thinks he can debunk the whole thing. Set in a village called Chelakara.
Chilak, okay. You know, even just hearing the setup, the mango tree itself, it's already fascinating.
What do you mean?
Well, the mango tree is such a powerful symbol in India, life, abundance, all that. But here, in this story, it's like it's been twisted, it's become something ominous.
Yeah, almost like the story is playing with our expectations.
Exactly. Like it's taking something familiar and making it, well, a little bit sinister, which, when you think about it, that's what a lot of folklore does, right?
That's true. Like, take the dark forest in fairy tales. Always where the danger is lurking. So maybe this mango grove is tapping into that same primal fear.
Could be. But before we get too deep into the psychology of it all, maybe we should set the scene a bit for our listener.
Right, good point. So Chelakara, the story makes it feel so real, like you could practically walk down its streets.
Oh, absolutely. And everyone in the village knows the legend of this haunted mango grove. You can just imagine, right? Those whispers, the stories passed down through generations, especially after sunset when the shadows get longer and every sound makes you jump.
Spooky. And then we're introduced to our narrator. I love how he's portrayed. Total skeptic, doesn't believe a word of the ghost stories.
But he still goes to investigate.
Of course, determined to prove everyone wrong. He's so sure of himself, though. His friend even offers him a religious charm for protection.
Ah, yes. Those are very common in Kerala.
Really? So it's not just like a superstitious thing?
Oh, not at all. Charms and amulets, they're a big part of the culture. Reflects a whole belief system around unseen forces, both good and bad. It's about maintaining a balance between the spiritual and material world.
That's interesting. So the friend isn't just being silly. They're coming from a place where these things are very real to them. So picture this. Our skeptic, armed with his flashlight and, well, maybe a little bit of nervous energy despite himself, heads into the grove. What's going through his mind at this point, do you think?
Well, the story does a great job of creating that atmosphere, the darkness closing in, that feeling of being watched. You almost feel like you're right there with him.
Oh yeah, definitely. But our guy, he's determined to stay objective.
Right. He spends an hour under the mango tree looking for any sign of, well, anything supernatural.
Almost like he's daring the ghosts to show themselves.
And for a while, it seems like he might be right. No ghosts, no eerie noises, nothing. But then he stumbles on something totally unexpected.
The house.
Yes, this beautiful unfinished house right in the middle of the grove, all these intricate carvings, incredible architecture, a real hidden gem.
It's interesting how the story puts this moment of beauty right alongside the tragedy that we know happened there.
It's a powerful contrast. You have the couple, their dreams, their vision for this amazing house, and yet it's all overshadowed by their tragic end.
It makes you wonder, what is the story trying to say here? What does this house represent?
To me, it's about the duality of the whole story. The beauty and the tragedy, the hope and the despair, all mixed together. And it draws our narrator in, not through fear, but through a sense of wonder, even sadness.
It's almost like we're being lulled into a false sense of security,
Yeah.
Forgetting about the ghost story for a moment and just appreciating this unexpected beauty. But as we'll find out, things aren't always what they seem, are they?
No, they're not. Now, when we left off, our narrator was heading back from that grove.
Yeah, all excited, right? Ready to tell his friend, see, I told you, no ghosts. He's got his story about the amazing house, proof that it's all just a silly legend.
But, well, his friend doesn't exactly react the way he expects.
That's an understatement. It's not just a you're wrong, it's a total bombshell.
The friend drops the news that the house, the one the narrator saw, was destroyed years ago in a flood.
Can you imagine? I mean, you'd be freaking out, questioning your sanity.
Oh, absolutely. But it's the friend's reaction that really gets me.
What do you mean?
It's not just disbelief, it's fear, genuine fear. Like they know something more about that grove.
Right. It goes back to what we were talking about before, those charms, the belief in unseen forces. This is serious stuff to them, not just some campfire story.
Exactly. It's a reminder that these legends, they're woven into the fabric of their lives, their history. They carry real weight.
So what does our skeptic do? He goes back, of course. I mean, I don't know if I'd be that brave.
He's got to know, right? I think it's that human need for answers. We can't stand not knowing.
Plus maybe a little bit of that morbid curiosity.
Perhaps. But this time, when he goes back, the grove feels different.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's not just eerie now, it's menacing.
Like it's become aware of him.
Yeah, and remember how he was all confident before, dismissing the need for that charm?
I bet he's regretting that now.
Totally. But he keeps going, searching for an explanation, something logical.
But the grove stays silent, doesn't give up its secrets easily. It's almost like it's playing with him.
Toying with him, yeah. And just when he's about to give up, turn back, he sees them.
The couple.
Hanging from the mango tree. Just like in the legend. Wow. I mean, that image, the couple hanging from the tree, it's chilling. It's one thing to hear about it, but to actually see it, to be in the narrator's shoes at that moment.
I think it would shake anyone to their core, wouldn't it? To have your reality so completely upended.
Yeah, it makes you wonder, what would we do? Would we still be clinging to logic, or would we start questioning everything we thought we knew? I have to say, as a storytelling technique, it's incredibly effective.
Oh, absolutely. And it's made even more powerful because we've followed the narrator on this journey, right? From skeptic to believer, so to speak.
Right. But do you think that was the only way to end the story? I mean, could the author have left it more open-ended? Made us wonder if the narrator really saw the couple, or if it was all in his head?
That's an interesting thought. I mean, leaving it ambiguous would definitely have its own impact, forcing the reader to sit with that uncertainty. But I think showing the couple directly, it brings a certain finality to it. It confirms that, at least within the world of the story, the legend is true.
And maybe that's the point of all ghost stories, right? To make us question the boundaries of what we consider possible. Which reminds me, we've been talking about the story in a general sense, but it's important to remember this is a Malayalam ghost story from Kerala. Does that cultural context add another layer to its meaning?
Absolutely. In Kerala, ghost stories aren't just about scares. They're often deeply tied to local history, beliefs, even social commentary.
So it's not just entertainment, there's a deeper purpose.
Right. They can be cautionary tales, warnings about greed, about disrespecting nature, things like that. And these stories are passed down, told and retold, becoming part of the fabric of the community.
Wow, that's fascinating. It makes you wonder what other stories are out there, what other themes and warnings are hidden in Kerala's folklore.
It's like a treasure trove waiting to be discovered. And this story, it's almost like an invitation to go exploring, to dig deeper into that world.
I love that. And it makes me think it's not just Kerala, right? Every culture has its own folklore, its own way of dealing with the unknown, the things that scare us.
Exactly. And those stories, they can tell us so much about a culture, about its values, its fears, its hopes.
Well, on that note, I think it's time to wrap up this deep dive. But I have to say, I'm walking away with a lot to think about, and maybe a little bit of a chill down my spine.
As always, the best stories stay with us long after we've finished reading them.
Thanks for joining us on this journey into the heart of a Malayalam ghost story. Until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and maybe keep a nightlight on just in case.